Have you ever heard of pumpkin seeds, or have you ever seen it and wondered what you can use it for? Some people put it in their yogurt, their parfait, their oats. But here is something else that you can use your pumpkin seeds for. You can use it to make soup. And pumpkin seed is actually very rich in magnesium and zinc and a whole lot of other nutrients. It's a very nutritional nut. And what you need to do here is, as you saw, that's my pumpkin seed. I added it to the blender and I added some dried chili peppers or some dried chilies. I'm going to blend this until it's smooth, completely smooth, and then I'll add onions. This part I'm about to do is optional, but it makes your soup to taste really good, and it also gives it a very nice aroma. So once I blend the pumpkin and it's smooth, I would add some sliced or some diced onions into the blender. This is just to fragrance the pumpkin seeds. This is optional, and you have to be very careful because this can actually spoil your blender if your blender is not very strong. So yeah, at this point I blended the onions with the pumpkin seeds, and I'm just going to turn it out of the blender. As you can see, after doing that process, it brought out some healthy fat, because the oil that comes out of your nuts is actually healthy fat. So you don't have to worry that, oh, it's oily, that's why I don't want to eat it. It's actually healthy fat, so it's okay. So I'm just going to mix this up and I'll set it aside. As you can see, there's some oil in it. There's oil in it rather. After that, I'll set that aside, and then I'll go ahead to blend some tomatoes and pepper, bell pepper, as well as locust beans or ogiri, whatever you want to call it, locust beans. Yeah. So the next thing I'll do is to heat up my pot and add in some palm oil. I won't bleach my palm oil. I'll just add in my pumpkin seeds immediately. You don't have to worry about why the color is looking like this. Don't worry. As you cook, the color is going to change. So I've added in my pumpkin seed, my grinded pumpkin seed, to the oil pot. And I'm just going to stir this. You want to do this on medium heat because you don't want it to burn. So after that, after mixing it up properly, I'll just rinse my blender into the pot. Don't worry, it's just water. It's because of what I used the blender to blend. I used it to blend the pumpkin seed, and that's why you can see that it's actually looking white, but it's just water. I rinsed the blender into the pot, and I'm just going to mix this up properly like so, and allow it to keep frying on medium heat until all the water or most of the water has evaporated from it. This is just the frying process. You can also cook this like you would cook your normal egusi soup. If you don't like to fry, you can do the other method, but I just prefer to fry it. And once all the water has evaporated, or most of it, I'm just going to go ahead and add in my tomato blend. That's my tomato and locust beans that I blended. I'm adding that in, and I'm just going to rinse my blender into it, or just add a bit of water to this. And I'm going to stir this and cover it to cook. Once it has boiled up, I'm going to stir this again properly just to ensure that it's not burning at the bottom. I'll add in some crayfish powder at this point and stir it one more time. I'll go ahead and add my beef. You can use whatever protein you like. You can add whatever it is that you want. I added in some beef and some chicken to this soup. and I'll just go ahead to taste to see what. At this point I had not added any salt or any seasoning or whatsoever. I just tasted it to know how much seasoning I need to add to this, and I added in my meat stock, and I covered this and allowed it to boil. Bring it to a rolling boil. After a while, you want to give this a good stir. I tasted to ensure that the seasoning, and I noticed that it wasn't as tasty as I wanted, so I added a bit of seasoning powder to this. And yeah, that's about the seasoning powder or the sauce that I added to this soup. And I went ahead to add in some spinach. You can use any vegetable of your choice. You can use bitter leaf, you can use uziza leaf, you can use scent leaf. It's just all about it. At this point, it's just all about preference. If you don't even want any leaf, you can leave it like that. So it's all about preference at this point. I covered that and allowed it to cook for a bit before stirring it. And yeah, our soup is ready. It's so delicious and so tasty. Have you tried this soup before? If you haven't, you need to try out this soup. It's actually very tasty and also very nutritional. It has a lot of nutritional benefits. I hope you give this soup a try and let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Thank you. Bye.